Hey guys, I am so excited. I haven't had a guest in a bit, and I have one of my dearest friends, Angel from my real life budget. Hi,
Hi
Angel.
everyone.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on. So when we were brainstorming, Angel came up with this amazing idea, and I was like, yes, because it goes along with my last two videos. And I know that groceries are so expensive nowadays, and we need to stretch our budget as much as possible. And so when she mentioned repurposing leftovers, I love doing that, and I haven't covered this yet. So I was like, yes, let's go with this.
Yes. And this is something I've struggled with for years. So I
Mm,
thought this would be a great thing to talk about because
yeah.
I feel like it takes time to kind of learn a little bit.
Yes, it really does. I started repurposing food when my little ones, when my now 17 and 18-year-olds were little, because they didn't like vegetables. So I used to sneak them in, and that's how I started taking like a vegetable that I made in one meal and then repurposing it without them knowing it in another meal, and they thought they were eating their vegetables, and I still put something on the side, but I'd get so happy to know that they were eating even more vegetables and they had no idea. So that started my brain on that function, because I feel like you need to be creative, which I'm not. when
You do.
when it comes to like repurposing groceries into like leftovers into another meal, and it saves so much money. One of the biggest comments that I get on my channel, I don't know if you get it on yours as well, is people saying like, I don't eat leftovers, like my
Mm,
spouse or my
Hi. That's
kids.
my partner does not eat leftovers.
Really? My kids can't stand leftovers. I don't live the Pinterest life, like I've said a million times on my channel.
Yeah.
Like I do not. I do not. I am 100% real. Like my husband and I can eat the same meal like 4 days in a row and it's
Yeah, that's
fine.
me.
Yeah, my kids, no. No. So
Yeah,
I love
no, I have to
repurposing.
trick him. I have to be like, "Oh, like, reheat whatever it is in the pan, but, like, don't let him see I pulled the Tupperware." The only thing he'll reheat is, like, rice. So
Okay.
we do a lot of leftover rice, but, like,
Mhm.
one of my biggest pet peeves is when we order the combo from we have a really good Dominican restaurant that's in town here, and we'll get,
Mhm.
like, a big combo with, like, the pollo al horno that's, like, oven chicken, and we'll get the white rice with the Dominican beans, and they'll give you tostones or, like, the sweet plantain. So that chicken, I always end up feeding it to the dogs, and I thought, "What can I do?" Well, then I remembered my air fryer. I have this Ninja air fryer, but I'm sure any air fryer would work.
Okay.
There's a reheat setting, and we would do this with pizza. If we would get, like, pizza, you could put it on this reheat setting, and I swear to you, Debbie, it's like it comes right from the box. That's how good it is off of this
Kidding.
reheat. Yeah, just for a few minutes, like 3 minutes, like 3, 4 minutes, and it comes out just like fresh, this pizza. So I thought, maybe I can try it with this chicken and, like, he'll never know.
Mhm.
I did end up telling him, but I did try it with the chicken and
Mhm.
it was a hit. So I'm like, "Well, that's great because that chicken usually could feed us for a couple meals when we do that."
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. I don't have an air fryer. I
No. Oh my
I
gosh, you're like Dawn.
I don't have one, but I've seen so many people use them like on videos and like on movies and stuff, and I'm just like, that looks like the
Mhm.
coolest thing. No, I don't have an air fryer,
I
so that
will
sounds so
say
interesting.
I don't use it every day,
Okay.
but the stuff that I do use it for, I
Mhm.
would miss it if I didn't have it now.
Really?
But I'm not saying
Okay.
go buy one. I'm just saying,
Mhm.
like, you could definitely do without it. You don't need it.
Mhm.
But I do like it for, like, oh, if I wanna do, like, the reheating the pizza or reheating the chicken, any type of leftover reheating,
Mhm.
that thing reheats it like you just got it from wherever you got the food from or from the day before if you made it or whatever.
That's
But I
nice.
yeah, I like it to do, like, quick chicken nuggets and fries for Xavier, for lunch if he wants to eat that. He's been pretty
Mhm.
picky lately. It's tough feeding a toddler, but,
I've got a book for you. I'll send you the
yes?
book that I use for my
Oh,
my 2
please
little ones.
do,
Oh my
yes.
gosh, they still talk about my pumpkin pancakes. They're like, "Oh, your pumpkin pancakes were the
Oh,
best." It was sweet potato that was stuck in there, like,
get
and they thought it was
out.
pumpkin.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, yes,
black
please.
beans black beans in brownies. They were like, "This is the chewiest, chunkiest, like, brownies ever." They're like, "Can you make more of those brownies?" I was like, "Black beans," and then, like, this book is gold, and I still have it. I don't know why, I think it's sentimental, like, I just kept it there. So I'm gonna send it to you. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
oh,
send it to you.
yes,
You'll love it.
please, I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, you'll love it. For me, I love making like vegetable stock is it's one of the ways that I repurpose things too. Like
That's
any
on
I
my
have
list here.
oh my gosh, I have a Ziploc bag in my freezer, and anytime like I'm peeling carrots or onions, garlic, trying to think what else. Oh gosh, so much.
You do like the celery, the carrot ends,
Celery.
any of the
Yes.
ends I put of the veggies, like you could make
Mhm.
a stock out of that, just save it
Yes,
and freeze
and
it.
when that bag is full, I just stick it in the crock pot and I fill it with water and I let it go for 8 to 10 hours. I did invest finally in mason jars
Oh, nice.
because I've always been repurposing like the ragu and the jelly and all that, but the top, it's so hard to write in marker after you've used it like a
Uh-huh.
million times.
It is.
And I finally invested for like $10 in this package of 6, but of mason jars, and it's easier to write on. But I love making vegetable stock from the scraps, and it comes out amazing. And
Yeah.
depending on what you have, like it changes the flavor a little bit. And the last time I made vegetable soup with a lot of vegetables that I had in the freezer, and like if I have carrots in the fridge that are just a little bit like like it's
Yes.
starting to
You
go,
could just
I make
like
a soup
peel
out
that
of it.
one end off of it and throw the
Yep.
rest in. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so I grab the stock that I frozen in those mason jars. I take it out the night before to let it thaw in my sink, and I make vegetable soup with the vegetables that are already starting to go a little bit, and then if vegetables are starting to go, like I take them and I chop them up and I put them in the freezer. So sometimes I can make a soup out of everything I have in the freezer. So
You
I
know
love
what
making
I
soups.
do?
Hmm.
I like, so it depends in my area if either the Aldi 3-pack pepper deal is
Okay.
better, usually it's better
Hmm.
than Walmart's single peppers.
Okay.
But I use green pepper pretty much in everything that I
Hmm.
like. Moto, all of
You sound
the
like my mom. My
guisados.
mom used to do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
I put
peppers. I love peppers because
peppers
of
in
her. Yeah.
everything. So what I like to do, I'll if I know I'm not gonna go through all 3 of them, I'll, like, chop them, and I know, like, about how much. I usually put, like, a fourth of a pepper into one of my rice dishes, so, like, I'll
Mhm.
cut that up, and we like it cut pretty fine so that they don't, find the veggies in there, they could just eat it with the rice.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'll cut it up real fine, like, maybe with the onion and the garlic that I'm gonna use in that
Mhm.
rice dish, and then I just pull it out of the freezer, and then boom, it's just it's ready. It's chopped, it's ready. You just throw it in. You don't have to spend, an extra 15 minutes chopping up all your veggies. Like,
Mhm.
you come home from work, you're tired, or you had a busy day food shopping, and the last thing you want to do is cook. So you're thinking about ordering takeout. No, you just grab that bag from the freezer, throw it in, and boom, you're done.
Mhm.
And then you
I
don't be wasting the peppers. I used to waste the peppers, they used to go bad on me.
Oh my gosh, vegetables used to go bad on me all the time before I started being frugal, and then now it's a
Hmm.
matter of minutes, and I have them ready to go whenever I want. I love that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Another thing is chicken. So, like I love roasting a chicken and then the next day making stock from the carcass and making chicken
Yeah, and
soup.
that's so good.
So good, and it's so healthy for you. Again,
It
I don't know what it
is
is.
the
I'm on a
bone
soup
broth.
kick in this video, so
Oh, it's winter, 'tis the soup
I know.
season.
That's like, let's do it. But sometimes I don't have enough chicken for the soup because, like we had it the night before. So I
Mhm.
either freeze the stock and again, same thing in the mason jars and take it out when I want them. And then what I do is whenever chicken's on sale, like I'll buy like the family pack. And
Mhm.
sometimes I just put it in a big pot of water and I boil it. And then I shred it up. So some of it will go in the chicken soup. I've taken that same chicken and done chicken enchiladas, which I have a video.
Mm.
It's funny how YouTube is like my the purpose of my channel is to help people save money, but for some reason my highest viewed video of all time is my
With
chicken
your chicken
enchiladas.
enchiladas.
I'm like,
I know.
okay, I don't know why. I'm like, I don't know why, but it has like over
People want
5,000
chicken
views.
enchiladas.
I'm like, I guess so. But so I take the chicken and I put in the chicken enchiladas. The next day will like the rest of the chicken will be like chicken tacos or anything left over. Again, I freeze like since it's cooked chicken, like I freeze it in a freezer bag and I have that when I'm in a hurry to stick into anything. Like I can put it in
Yeah.
rice and so that big family pack like it can get used up and it can get repurposed again and again. And then different meals, the kids have no idea it's the same chicken. Like
No,
they
yeah, what would
no,
they know, right? What
they wouldn't
mom's
know.
little secret.
I know, I love it.
Right? So
Yeah.
what I what I love to do with chicken, I recently learned how to cook pollo al horno. That I get the whole chicken
Mhm.
and I put it in. I have like a cast iron Dutch oven. I actually got it Aldi for like $40. Works
Wow.
great, the Crofton brand.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, so I season it up real good, usually like, the night before I season it up and I just let it sit in the refrigerator overnight. I'll bake the chicken off, and then whatever we don't eat, I usually end up making soup because Xavier loves soup. So
Mhm.
I love to keep soup, and then I freeze the leftovers of the soup, and then the same like how you like to make. I love to make my own broth because I was thinking like I always used to just buy it in the can, well, not the can in the box. I would always buy the
Mhm.
box kind, um, but it's you could just make it with the stuff you already buy
And
for
it's
nothing. Like
better.
yeah, and it tastes
I
so
think it tastes
good.
better. I think it
Yeah,
tastes
I
better. I
agree.
really do. I made butternut squash soup last night, a soup,
Mm,
and I used the box soup, and I could tell the difference. Like
yeah.
the box chicken broth in my
Yes.
recipe, and I could totally tell the
Mhm.
difference then when it's my own. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know,
Absolutely.
I can too.
Mhm.
Another thing, speaking of, like, things going bad, if you're fruit, like, I love to buy a lot of fruit, we eat a lot of fruit.
Mhm.
Every now and again, it doesn't happen often, but every now and again, like, it'll usually be the bananas or the apples.
The bananas
Hardly
here.
ever the
Yeah.
berries, they go fast, but I always
Mhm.
like to just freeze everything because you can just throw it into a smoothie.
Yeah.
I will throw whatever we don't like fruit-wise, whatever we don't eat, I'll just cut it up and throw it in the freezer, and it could sit there till summertime, till we're ready for smoothie weather. But you can
Mm.
also with the bananas, you could bake, you could do banana
Yes.
bread, banana muffins,
Mhm.
you could do all kinds of stuff with banana, and then the apples, you could also my Ninja air fryer has a dehydrate setting. So this is something that you could do for the fruits, the apples, anything that you like dehydrated, really. I dehydrated
Okay.
apples. It does take a little while, and uh, I don't have a whole lot of space because you have to have everything, you can't pile it on top of each other. But if
Mhm.
you have like an apple that's, it's just about ready to go, but you don't want to throw it out, you don't have chickens to
Mhm.
feed it to, you could just cut it up, dehydrate it. You have apple chips or say banana chips. You have like one banana or, something small that you can throw in there and dehydrate. It's a great snack. And you know how expensive it is to buy dehydrated fruit at
And
the
and
grocery store.
and you don't know if it's got any other, like, like,
It usually
preservatives or
has, like,
anything.
it
Yeah.
usually has added sugars, it usually does have added stuff because I'm like an
Mhm.
ingredient freak, I read the
I
ingredients and
I love
everything.
I love our conversations when you go into that, when you go into, like,
Yeah.
how you notice behavioral changes in your kids. Mine too. Mine
Yes.
too, like, when it comes to my
Yes.
son, he has ADHD, and, he's very sensitive to food, like, and
Mhm.
I've noticed that, and it's like, so I try staying away from certain things, even pasta. Like,
Yeah.
pasta for him, which I make pasta once in a while, but pasta for him will turn to sugar in his system, and then he gets hyper. It doesn't matter if it's
Yep.
wheat pasta or white pasta, it doesn't matter. So, yeah,
My
it's
son's good with the noodles, but it's
mhm,
the anything with, like, added dyes,
mhm.
and anything that has high sugar, mostly, like, those artificial type sugars.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have such a hard time with him then because he's has an attitude. He's bold. He's really rambunctious. He's running around like just screaming, pretending he's a drift racing car. So I've been really paying a lot more attention. And funny because before I had kids, one of my favorite things to do at the grocery store would be to read the labels on products,
Okay.
just to see what they put inside of it because I
Mhm.
always wondered like what's titanium dioxide and why is it in my whatever this product
Mhm.
is or what is like what is some of this stuff that they put in. I don't even know sometimes, so it's nice you just have the phone, you could google it. But
Yeah.
um back to repurposing, something that i I can't remember how this even came up, but I think I was watching a TikTok and it was a woman in the city and she was going over the prices of groceries at her bodega. It looked like a bodega that she was in.
Mhm.
And it was like eggs were, I can't remember the price, but we'll just say $8. The butter was $13 for the big tub. She only got like just what she needed. I can't remember if she spent $40 on like maybe 5 or 6 items, but it was something really high, a really high total for not a lot of food.
Mhm.
And she basically was saying, like, what can we do? Like, what can we do to get these prices lower? And there's a couple things that I've been seeing is that um, some of these grocery chains are actually owned by the same company. So there isn't much room for competition. So
Mhm.
they can make the prices whatever they want. And that actually comes down to like our local offices writing to your local senators and stuff like that for those types of things. But another suggestion that I think is like just everybody should do this if there's no regulation against it in your area is start a community garden. You can like, for example, I grow the tomatoes, you grow the lettuce, Judy grows the peppers, Dawn does the onions, and then you exchange with each other. I know it's a little bit more work. And I'm biased because I love gardening. I love having
Mhm.
my own garden, and I hope to one day sustain, my produce through canning and things. That's really far down in the future, but one day I hope to be able to produce all that myself. But I
Mhm.
just think it would be such a wonderful way for people to save money on food in
Mhm.
the future.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to
Absolutely.
throw that out there. Yeah.
Absolutely. In like, how like how if you had more time in the day, you would blank,
Yes.
For 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 me, if I had more time in the day in the springtime, like I would plant my own garden. Like I have a little bit of room. Like I could do it if I had more time. And that's always been something I've thought of. Like every spring I always think to myself, like this will be the time I do it. And then spring goes by
Mhm.
and I don't have the opportunity. But I've always wanted to do that. So when you said like you grow your
Yes.
own vegetables, I was like, I would love to do that. I'd like to start with like an herb garden because I
Mhm.
mean, I don't have a green thumb. My grandmother used to be able to revive anything. I
Oh,
don't.
wow. Yeah,
I have a
that's
cactus. I have a cactus that's almost as old as my daughter. That's it.
that's a
Everything
my
else has
mom
been
was
gone.
she was a cactus lady. She could only keep the cactuses, but she's grown. And now
Mhm.
she has like a window full of plants and I'm gonna be honest, I am not the gardener of the family.
Yeah.
Jordan is the gardener. He's the green
Okay.
thumb. I
That's
also
awesome.
kill everything. But I get so excited because
Mm,
he teaches me so much when it comes springtime comes and we're planting whatever it is we're planting. I learned so much like you can clone tomatoes. I had no idea you could clone plants. You just break a piece off and
mhm.
put it in the soil and boom, it grows a whole new plant. Like mind blown.
Wow.
I didn't even know that was possible.
I've heard of
um
cloning things. I always think it's bad.
yeah, well, I know, right? I
Yeah.
did too. That was the one time I got excited about it was the tomato plants. That wait, that year it wasn't this past year, it was the year before. We had so many tomato plants. We were giving tomatoes to everybody on our block
So
because we just
sweet.
had so many tomatoes. We didn't even know what
Mhm.
to do with them. And I didn't have time to like begin my canning life then, but
Mhm. Mhm.
maybe this year. Yeah,
Yeah, you
keep putting
never
it on my
know.
goals list to
You
can.
never know. Yeah, you never know. You know an herb garden would be something I'd wanna start with because I love cooking with herbs, so that'd be
Mhm.
something too. Yeah.
That's a
You know
great way though, herbs, like, if you do have
Mhm.
an herb garden, a great way to add delicious flavor to your food
Yeah,
for not a lot of money.
because herbs are expensive.
I know,
They
yeah,
they
if you could
really
do it
are. They're really
yourself in the
expensive.
window.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's always been something I've been thinking about. Yeah, absolutely. I used to follow a YouTuber. I think I don't anymore, but I used to follow a YouTuber and she would grow things out of nothing. And I was just like,
Yeah.
how in the world with a tiny little balcony, she had like so much. And it was
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing.
One of the things that I love to repurpose too is I love making my own tomato sauce, and
Yes.
something, and again, like any like pure Italian, people watching that make that amazing sauce that like takes days and days and days, like cover your ears. But what
Mm.
what I like to do is sometimes whenever I have any vegetables in the fridge that are about to go, like again, like the carrots or onions or something, like I'll roast them and then I'll add them to my tomato sauce and puree
Mm.
them. So my tomato sauce, without anyone knowing, has a little bit of spinach in it or
That's
has
so good.
carrots in it. Again, it's trying to sneak a little extra vegetables for the kids. And then I
Mhm.
spice it up so they think it really does taste like marinara sauce no matter how I do it. I always end up
Yes.
making it. I'll add a little bit of honey to kill the bitterness of like
Yes,
everything I've
that
put in there,
acidity.
Yeah, then
Mhm.
I'll spice it up so my kids have no idea that they're having extra vegetables. and it really tastes like it's not as thick as the ragu. I could make it that way if I wanted to, but I don't have the time.
Yeah.
But then I'll put it like with pasta. I'll make a meat sauce, like add meat to some of it, like not all of it. So I'll portion it out.
Mhm.
I'll put some meat in that one, and that can be with rice. I save it in the fridge and I put it on pizza. Like
Mm.
so again, I'm kind of giving it extra vegetables without them knowing it, and I've
Yes.
repurposed it for like 3 or 4 meals. And then anything left over, I can always freeze as well, so nothing goes bad.
I actually have one more pint jar of frozen tomato sauce in my freezer from our garden. My
Wow.
mom actually did it. My mom made it because I didn't have the time. I was, like, working like crazy, but she did. She just chopped everything up and made it, and it was so good. I'm, like, saving it for, like, I don't know, some special occasion. I don't know
Mhm.
what, but I'm just, like, saving it there because it was so good, and I'm like, "Oh, I can't wait to get more tomatoes
That's
in my garden."
amazing. That's
Uh,
amazing. Oh my
but,
gosh.
something that I like to do when it comes to repurposing leftovers,
Mhm,
so, like, we eat a lot of rice in my family.
mhm,
I love white rice. I know a lot of people like brown, but that's
mhm,
fine. I will make a big pot, like a big pot, which will be like a double batch. And then I will save from that night and the following morning. Like I like to eat rice for breakfast. I like a savory breakfast. And I'll do like rice with either scrambled egg, hard boiled egg. When I'm feeling Japanese, I will do some salmon, like sesame salmon with my rice, and it's
that's
so
amazing.
good. Well, when I eat a good breakfast like that, I feel like I could take on the world. I'm ready for my day and I'm not feeling like I feel satiated and I don't feel like I need to keep eating and eating and eating throughout the day. Because sometimes I'll eat like cereal and I will be so hungry in like 2 hours. When I do a more hearty breakfast like that,
Mhm,
that's more protein heavy and a little bit more carb for me works. I know a lot of people can't do a lot of carb. I'm okay with the carb.
mhm.
Um, I just feel fuller longer and more alert, more ready for the day.
That's awesome. I'm an intermittent fasting.
Okay.
I didn't say that right. But, so I don't have breakfast at all, and then I'll have lunch. Um, and
Okay.
and
Oh, I
so
couldn't do it.
no, that's how I that it helped me drop
Yeah, that's
weight. It helped me drop weight. In
okay.
the first, like, 3 weeks, I was ready to, like, like, I was ready to, like, "Don't come near me," like but that was years ago, and I've been able to maintain it. But but for me, like, once it's 1 o'clock, like, I was having a conversation with a coworker today, and my stomach was just growling, and she was like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "That's me, because it's time to eat." Like so, but I also freeze rice, and I like eating brown rice, but when we get the Chinese food once in a blue moon, like when I'm like, let's get takeout, you know how it comes with that free white rice,
Yes.
I freeze that because and that's another thing. Rice after 3 days, it turns in your fridge. And I'm like,
Okay.
and so whether it's white or whether it's brown, like it turns in your fridge. So anything that's left over by like day 2, like I freeze it. Like I do. I just go through my
I
fridge.
didn't even know you could I mean, I guess I should have assumed you could buy rice freezer meals, but I didn't even think to freeze rice.
Yeah, and then I'll make like a vegetable stir fry or a chicken stir fry, and
Mm.
I don't have to make the rice. I take it, I throw it
Or
in there, and
know
with yeah,
oh, no, go ahead.
no, no, and I can make a quick meal like within 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna
Mhm.
say, if you ever do, like I know in, my culture, chlupki, you do, like, ground meat with, some people call them pigs in a blanket, it's, like, ground meat with, like, onion and rice, and then you, like, roll it up in cabbage, and,
Oh, that sounds
you're like
amazing.
yeah, you boil it in, like you could do it, I guess, many different ways, but, like, we would do it in, like, a tomato type broth,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, halupki or stuffed peppers even, you can
Yes,
throw
I love
rice
stuff.
in there, and I love
I've
rice
done
in
that.
my stuffed peppers.
Mhm.
That would come in handy because, like, I know for me, it takes a little while, or even if you do the rice cooker, it does take a little bit for the rice to cook.
It does, and sometimes, like, the rest of the meal's ready to go, but I'm waiting for the rice to finish, so, yeah, so
Mhm.
I whenever I'm making rice and not every time, but whenever I think of it, like, I'll double the batch, and then I'll be able to freeze some because
Yes.
there's some times, like, especially, like, I come home from my 5:30, I've got clients, and I'm like, "I've got 20 minutes," and I wanna make them
What
something
can I
healthy.
do?
I don't want
Yeah.
them eating cereal every day because mom's busy, so
Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh, I know the
I'm like
feeling.
No, so having that rice in the freezer and the chopped vegetables in the freezer, I just put it all together and make a quick sauce, and they've got like fried rice. Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
that's one
that's
of the things I like to do.
awesome. The
Hmm
freezer is like your best friend when it comes to repurposing stuff. Like
I
I
was about to say,
actually
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm,
I've froze plantains in the past, because what I would buy plantains and
mhm,
uh later on I found out that he didn't really prefer the way that they tasted after they were frozen, which for me I didn't care. But I would get them, and then as I would see they were before they would turn sweet, like they were just about to turn sweet, I
mhm,
would cut them, I would chop them up, and I would just leave them so you could either boil them, or if I wanted to do tostones, I would fry them first and then smash them, and then I'd put them in a bag and I'd wait to pull them out to fry them the second time. But yeah, I would freeze plantains a lot, like when we were first before we had kids and we were first living together, because I
mhm,
would buy. You could get at that time 6 plantains for like under $2. Now
wow,
you're lucky if you can get three for that price in my area
mhm,
anyway. So I
mhm.
would get all six, and then I would do that. I would just, and then I'd pull them out because throughout the week, they would get bad or they'd turn sweet. And we usually prefer the green plantain over the sweet plantain. So that's what I would
Mhm.
do to keep my plantains.
I the what I find annoying is like the price of, like, before they were saying, the supermarkets were saying that the price of groceries was higher and being increased because the price of gas
Hmm.
was increased, and they needed to bring ship in the food, which I
Hmm.
understand. But now around here, gas actually is at like 3.25 a
Yeah, it was
gallon. So
324 here for me today, filling up.
yeah, so I'm like, if gas is low, why is everything increasing? Why are sizes getting smaller, but the prices are getting more, like are
Yeah.
increasing? I've noticed that in pasta, like pasta boxes, condiments,
Yes.
that's doing honey. Honey went up $2, the same bottle that I buy, $2, and it's smaller. And I'm just like really?
The distilled baby water, it used to be $1. It went
Mm-hmm.
up to $1.08. Now it's $1.16 for the
Mm-hmm.
gallon. Um, what else? Oh, the eggs. The price of eggs is insane.
Eggs.
Like
Yes.
I can't even. I'm like, can I get a chicken,
Mm-hmm.
please? Like a egg laying chicken, because I'm done
I
with these egg prices.
Oh my gosh, the chicken. So so I order my groceries most of the time. I order my groceries online, and I go curbside because that way I can stay
Mm-hmm.
under
Yep.
budget. I
What I
actually
do
just talked
too.
about it. I know. I actually just talked about it in my last video. I was like, that was one of the tips that it really helps me save, because then when you're hungry, even when you're shopping online, you're hungry, you're gonna overshop. And those
Hmm.
Oreos sneak in and I delete them. But
I can't tell you how many times I've had stuff and then I'd get my order and I'm like, oh, where are my red velvet cupcakes? But it was like, sane me deleted them. Continue.
I know. No, absolutely, absolutely. But it's just but the prices are just increasing, and I'm just like, and I just don't understand it. Like I want someone to explain to me, like why is
Well,
it? Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about
I've
the
got
chicken.
you.
I
Oh,
was
yes,
I
the
was talking about the
chicken.
chicken. So online it said like it was $20, and I was like, okay, well, I'd love to be able to roast this chicken. It was like, and they said the size, and I was like, I'd love to be able to roast this chicken and make some meals out of it. We hadn't had it in a while, and my kids had just gotten over a cold, and so I was like, chicken soup would be really great,
Yes.
and prevent the rest of us from getting sick too, hopefully. And so I I paid $20. It was 19 something for this chicken, and it was supposed to be a certain size. It was like half, and they
Oh,
charged me the same amount.
wow.
When I saw it wasn't a chicken, it was more like a like a little hen. I was like,
Wow.
I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I just, the prices are just insane. So that's why I'm so
You
glad we're having
bring
this conversation.
Yes, yes, and, you brought that up, and I just wanna throw this in real quick. It doesn't
Mhm,
kinda relate to repurposing leftovers, but
mhm,
for those of you who do shop grocery pickup, I have noticed certain stores, not all of them,
mhm,
um, a lot of the items will be out of stock.
mhm,
Um, in my area anyway, I'm noticing it'll say, okay, if I want, like, say, maybe it's a less expensive version of something.
mhm.
Well, that one might be out of stock, and the only one available might be the most expensive option. But if I were to physically go to the store,
They have it.
they have it. I was putting in, I was gonna do a grocery pickup today.
Mhm,
Well, I ended up actually physically going to the store, and there was stuff that I was trying to add that they were saying is out of stock, but then when I actually went there it was on the shelves. And
Mhm.
I couldn't understand why.
Mhm. Yeah.
Why is it? But I guess I guess that's I was thinking maybe it's a way for them to make more money on some of the more pricey items
Expensive
or the
things.
name brand items. I'm not too sure, but I
Yeah.
guess, watch out for that if you're trying to live a frugal grocery life because
Absolutely.
it could really
Absolutely.
those couple dollars could really boost your bill a lot.
Mhm. 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 I have a leftover shelf that in my fridge, like, or like, it's
That's
like
a good
not just
one.
for leftovers, but that's where all the leftovers go, because with
Mhm.
5 people in the house, like, things get moved around, and
Yes.
I don't want to ever have anything that goes into the back of the fridge and dies. And then when I realize what it was, like, I can't repurpose it, I can't use it at all.
Mhm.
So I have a certain spot in the fridge where everybody knows that's where the leftovers go. And when they're like, "Oh, there's nothing to eat in the fridge," "Oh yeah, did you check the leftover shelf?" Smart
Yes,
guy, smart guy.
right?
It's right there. And then
I
I
love when
know,
they say there's nothing to eat, but everything just requires you to, like, maybe make it or heat it up.
I know, but they don't like the leftovers. But I'm like, well, sometimes that's what that is. But that reminds me, like, to make sure to see what I can turn it into something else.
Yes.
Even I had made rice, ground beef and rice, and I had, like, I think I had a little bit of a tomato sauce in it, and it had vegetables in it, and I had just enough for, like, maybe like 3 people, if anything. So I took out some flour tortillas, and I warmed them up on the pan, and I put them in there, and I put some cheese on top, and I was like, I made tacos out of it, like something that
Mm,
takes seconds. Like, I
yes.
put the condiments out, like, and so I'm like, hey, taco night, and they're like, how come it's got rice in it? And I was like, oh well, I decided to put some rice in it. Like, they have no idea it was leftovers. You put cheese
Mhm.
on top of anything, and everyone's like,
Yeah,
oh wow, a
they
brand
will
new
eat
meal.
it. Exactly. I know
Yeah.
something I saw on TikTok. I need to get off that app because boy, but I saw someone take the peelings and the ends of their onions
Hmm.
and they roasted them in the oven at like 200 degrees for like, I don't know, a couple hours. And then they pulled them out, let them cool, and then they ground them up in like a handheld blender
Hmm.
and they had like an onion powder, a homemade onion
Okay.
powder.
Wow.
And I thought that was so clever. I
Mhm,
really, really want to try it. I feel like when you're going to be repurposing and when you're going to be kind of trying to cut some costs with
mhm,
groceries,
mhm.
it's going to take a little bit more time. I'm the queen of convenience when it comes to groceries.
Yeah.
So I would always like overpay if I had to just
Mhm. Save
to take a
time.
little bit off myself. But
Mhm,
now with the rising prices, I'm like, I really got to get, I really have to just start putting the time in now.
mhm.
Just like how with keeping the vegetables to make stock or making the chicken stock out of the chicken carcass. That's something that like when you really think about it, it really doesn't take that much extra time
It
to
doesn't.
do it.
I take like, how, like, when you make a big meal and you're gonna put it in Tupperware containers to put in the fridge. Like, I
Yes.
have I have my crock pot right there, and I literally take the chicken, put it right in the crock pot, fill it up, put a lid on it, and go to bed. Like,
Mhm.
I
It
don't
is.
I
It's
don't have to
kind
think
of
about it.
getting yourself into that, I don't
Mhm.
wanna say like a routine, but into that
No.
habit
Yeah.
of, like, maybe just changing your thought process of, like, it's
Mhm.
too much or it takes too much time to just kind of incorporating it. I off topic, but I learned that was just like wiping down my kitchen cabinets. I'm gonna be wiping down the counter, may as well just wipe the cabinets real quick anyway,
Mhm.
and it doesn't take much extra time, so, I mean, if repurposing things might take a little bit of extra time, but it's definitely worth it in the long run, and it's definitely gonna save some money.
Yeah. Another video I'm surprised is doing well, because again, I get it's about repurposing, and I've noticed that my grocery videos, like my cooking videos from like years ago before I became a money coach, like they are now like resurfacing, and it's because I really believe it's the high price of groceries.
Yes.
But I've always been a little frugal because, like, I'm Cuban. Like, my mom sometimes would make dinner, and she didn't have enough food for her, but she wanted to make sure we were okay. So I got a little bit of
Mhm.
that from my mom.
Yes.
But one of the videos that I did that I was like, really, like, people really like it. I'm like, okay, I'm like, why not? But I made burgers. I love grilling. That's one of the things I love doing in the summertime. I love grilling vegetables too. It's like so
Mm,
good. But
yes.
I make I love it so much. I'm a vegetarian in my brain.
Yeah, me too.
I wouldn't mind if I didn't eat meat again, but my husband would, and the kids would be
See,
like,
that's
"Why are we
I
having so
was
many
a
vegetables?"
vegetarian for 17 years,
Yeah,
and then it's just easier for me to eat what the rest of my house eats now.
yeah,
So instead of
yeah.
being, the picky
Yeah.
one.
Oh, but I would love it. I would love to be vegetarian.
Hmm.
But I made too many burgers and then, like I left some in the fridge because I'm like, I know the kids are gonna want it. That is a leftover the kids don't mind eating.
Yeah,
But I'm like, what am I gonna do with all these burgers? And so I put them in my food processor and I chopped and so I grounded them down to like cook ground beef and then I started incorporating it in meals like every
nice.
few days and then I took the rest and I froze it and I put it in the freezer so that way I had cooked ground beef in the future. I made a meat sauce with it. Like I mean I made tacos with that too. Like
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
a great, great, great idea and a great
Mhm.
tip for
Yeah.
repurposing. Who would have thought you could just take it, ground it up, and boom, you've got
I
five more
didn't think
meals.
and I didn't think to me it was just like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna do this. Like I didn't really think I was being
Hmm.
creative, but then yeah, but that one's doing well too. I was like, okay, sounds good. Like why not? But
I love that you said I didn't really think that I was being creative. I think
mhm.
that's where it starts. Like you don't have to try to be creative. You just maybe resourceful is like a better word for
Yeah,
that
yeah,
because
resource.
I feel like at least for me when I hear the word creative, I'm like, okay, creative. And then I'm like, Pinteresting, right? But when you
Yeah.
say resourceful, I feel like that's more like you are using what you have
Yeah.
and making something new out of it rather than like I feel like creative for me, my perspective,
Mhm.
because I try to be creative in the kitchen, but then I go like a little too over the top, and then it's like too much. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to put down
Mhm.
there?
Yeah.
Whereas
Definitely, definitely.
resourceful, you're more like you just use what you have. You're not trying to go like so outside the box that you're like, on Chopped or something.
I know, for me, it comes from like when I first started looking at my budget when I was $40,000 in debt, I looked at it and the first thing I thought was groceries. Like, let's see what I could do with groceries and meal planning. And I think that's what started it. It's like to me, it's like if I can go like a whole month without throwing something out because it went bad or it turned in the fridge, then I feel like okay, I've done good for the environment, I've done good for my family, and I've done good for my wallet.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's where it comes from for me. Yeah, absolutely. If I can reinvent. And another thing too is some comments I've gotten on my YouTube channel is like they knew that if they bought the family pack of the ground beef or the family pack of the chicken that they would save, but they know they're not going to
Then they
use
don't
it.
use it.
So they spend more on the smaller packs. And so I talked about it 2 weeks ago. I did a video on how to save on meat and poultry. And I was like, buy that, break it down into smaller. It takes minutes
Yes.
to open up a fresh pack of chicken breasts, for example, or chicken, and dividing it up in freezer bags, taking out the air and putting it in the freezer, and then using
Hmm.
what you have. But that burger meat, I also used it on chili. So I used it on tacos, I
Yeah.
used it on a meat sauce, and I used it for beef with rice and vegetables and a little bit of a tomato sauce on there. And then I also used it on chili. And no one had any idea that for like a good like 2 weeks we were having those burgers.
Yeah, no, it's the same for me with like well, rice is a big one that we're always reusing is rice.
Mhm,
I could do like if I do that pot of white rice, if we don't eat it for breakfast, I could do a stir fry. Like I could
mhm,
just do some scrambled eggs. I could throw whatever veggies. If we want to throw a meat or if we want to throw like a shrimp, because I'll eat the shrimp. I won't like eat some of the meat. Or
mhm.
even the leftover chicken you can throw and you could like really make something cool. There's a guy on I think also on TikTok, I can't remember his name, but his kid will give him like this weird stuff and be like, here, make like a 5-star meal out of it. And he will.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. It's crazy. I'm not aspiring to be that level, but I am trying to get better with it because full disclosure, I feel like my family, does waste a lot of food.
Mhm,
And I've even tried to just cut my grocery budget so low that it was unrealistic for us that,
mhm,
it was kind of like, well, what are we gonna put together? Because I didn't buy enough stuff. But then I teeter that line of overbuying.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm really excited for in this new year, Kate's doing a no spend challenge for January.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I'm on board with this no spend challenge. I tried doing a $200 grocery budget challenge for December and failed, but I'm going to try to see how low can I go for the month of January when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to groceries, because between I was doing a meal delivery service and I thought I was saving money doing that until I actually looked at my statement, saw what I was getting charged, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I was getting 3 different charges from the meal delivery service every week. And I just thought, "Oh my gosh, like, how am I spending this much money every week just on the meal delivery?" Then I was going to the grocery store, and then I would have, like, food stuff that would go bad or that I wouldn't get to. So, one of my goals for this year is to repurpose my leftovers better, keep my grocery budget, down so that we're not overbuying and we're not wasting. Because I feel like it's such, oh my god, what a travesty to waste food, especially in the climate we're in now, you know?
Yeah. There's a YouTuber that I love, Jordan Page. I don't know
Ah,
if you follow
yes.
her. So
Uh-huh.
in September she does she calls it Shelf Timber, and
Yes.
it's how many meals can you make from your pantry.
Mhm.
And then she only so she stocks up her pantry throughout the year, and then like little by little, and then in September she only spends I think $25 a week or $30 a week on groceries
Wow.
so that she can use up what's in her pantry. Yeah. I love Pinterest and allrecipes.com. Both of them can be an app and both of them are a website. And all you
Mhm.
have to do is put in the ingredients that you have. So if you have leftovers, you put in what's in the food and it'll tell you a recipe that you can use. So and
Wow.
then I just look to see which recipe I have all the ingredients for, because the whole point is to repurpose so you don't have to go food shopping.
Yes.
And then I turn it into a meal. I've gotten a few ideas from that too.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I feel like we've talked about that before. I don't know if we did it on a video, if we maybe did it um, off the air. But
Mhm.
I do remember you telling me you can do that, that you can put in what you have and it will tell you different things that you can make.
All
That's really cool.
Recipes is amazing. It actually has what's called a dinner spinner, and you put in like so all you and it's free. You put in like whether you want breakfast, lunch, dinner, or an appetizer, and then you put in like the main things. Like let's say you have rice and you have chicken, and you have tomato sauce, and you put those three things in, and it's pretty cool. It's like a little spinning wheel. It's kind of like a wheel of fortune almost. And then it
Uh-huh.
stops and it says, okay, like dun dun dun, based upon this, here are all the recipes
Wow.
that have those ingredients. So you don't
That's
have to
really
make the
cool.
same thing every time. Because again, if you're repurposing a leftover and you've got picky eaters, the last thing you want
Mhm.
to do is use the new recipe for your leftovers again and have
Right.
them complain about your makeover of the recipe.
Yep.
So
Yep.
mhm.
Another thing that I learned, well, from both Jordan Page and General Stewart is if it comes in the freezer aisle, you can make it and freeze it.
Yes,
If
yes.
it's in the freezer aisle, you could freeze it yourself.
Mhm, mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. And you talked about bananas, how you
Yes.
freeze them and you can bake with them. I make in the summertime, I make banana ice cream. I make
Yes.
vanilla ice cream. So
I have been making banana ice cream for years, and it is
yeah,
so good.
and it's healthy.
Yes, and you
You
wouldn't even
know it.
know. Like,
Yeah.
for me, I don't have, like, a super, super sweet, sweet tooth, so but for me, it tastes so good, it's even
Mhm.
better
Yep.
than the
Yeah.
regular ice cream.
I don't know how you make it, but I do it in my food processor.
Mhm.
So what I do
Yep.
is when the bananas are turning or I know I'm not going to get to them on time, I peel them, I cut them in
Freeze them.
slices like thick slices, and I
Mhm.
put them on a baking sheet and I put it in the freezer. So once it's completely frozen, I stick it in a bag and I put it in and I leave it there forever. It could be forever.
Mhm.
Whenever we're in the mood for something sweet and we don't have, like I don't stock up on a lot of sweets in the house. So if we don't have anything sweet or if it's too hot outside and you want something to cool off, all you do is, for me at least, I take a handful of chocolate chips or, like
Mhm.
anything like a little chunk of like a chocolate bar, something small. It's not a lot.
Yes.
And I put it in the food processor and I make it like super fine, like almost like powdery. And then I take the bananas, the frozen bananas, make sure that they're frozen. You put it in there and you put enough milk in it, and I start pouring the milk little by little to start when it starts whipping around to the consistency of ice cream, and I put like
Mhm.
2 or 3 drops of vanilla extract in it.
Yes.
They think it's vanilla ice cream. They think it's vanilla
Yeah,
chocolate
they don't
chip,
even know.
and they
They
have
don't
no
even
idea it's
know.
milk. I know,
Mm,
I know.
mm.
It's milk
My
and
gosh, you got me
bananas.
hungry for some ice cream with bananas now.
I love it. I have no idea where I came up with that recipe. Like, I have no idea.
Oh my
I've been
gosh.
doing it for so long.
I saw they would call it like this is back in the day before YouTube had ads, I think.
Mhm.
It was like Freely the Banana Girl. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
No,
But
no.
this is going back like over 10 years, I think. She
Mhm.
was like, eat 30 bananas a day. This was like the start of the huge vegan movement
Okay.
on YouTube, but she had this like weirdo banana diet that she would do. But anyway, that's
Weirdo
even
banana
yeah, it was
diet.
like you just eat bananas all day and then like have a raw dinner or something like that, something crazy.
Oh my
But
goodness.
from one of those crazy vegan channels I learned
Mhm.
about, they called it nice cream. But oh my god, it was so good because I was like super vegetarian, like I didn't eat any dairy. And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my god, I would want ice cream so bad, but you couldn't find the alternatives that you could find nowadays.
Mhm.
So you had to kind of make your own and
Yeah.
saw it. And now like I do all kinds of stuff. I'll put like frozen berries if I have whatever frozen fruit I have in the fridge. If I have any
Mhm.
kind of like you could put your little fun little sprinkles on there if you want a fun little,
Mhm.
spice it up a little bit. But yeah, ooh, it comes good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so good. And avocados too, like avocados.
Mm,
I when they're ripe, I put first of all when people so many people tell me like, oh, I throw out avocados all the time. And I'm just like, avocados are so easy to keep. And everyone's like, no, they're not. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I leave them on the counter. As soon as they start getting just a little bit of a give, I put them in the fridge.
yep,
That stops
that's
the
it.
shelf life.
They're good
Yeah.
for like two weeks after that.
They're good
Yeah.
for that. I we were about to go away somewhere. I think it was like for a few days or something. This is like a few years ago. And I had some avocados in the fridge and I was like, I don't want to spend the money, throw the money out. So I took it and I peeled it and I sliced it and I put it in a freezer bag and I was like, I'm gonna see what happens. Like it was still okay. I made guacamole.
Hmm.
I made
You
guacamole weeks
know
later.
what you can do with avocados
Mhm.
that my mom did that she was like, "Oh my god, this was great." She added them to tomato soup, and she was like, "It just made
You're
it so
kidding.
creamy and
You're
so
kidding.
rich and so." Yeah, so if you have an
Wow.
avocado and you're making some tomato soup and a grilled cheese, throw it on in there. But another thing is fruit. You know how like berries sometimes, or even I've noticed the lettuce lately, it's been turning real quick.
Mhm.
What I saw is you can put your berries. What I like to do, I will put a paper towel in a container and then put them in there, and they keep pretty well. But I
Mhm.
saw on TikTok, can you tell I spend too much time on TikTok? I saw on TikTok that you can fill a
Mhm.
jar. I think they just filled it with water and put their strawberries in there, put their lemons in there, any kind of fruit, and it kept it nice. I mean, I don't know because I wasn't there for
Kidding.
the time lapse, but
Mhm.
their video said so. So, I mean, you can give it a try. But the paper towel trick works every time for me. It
Yeah.
keeps the stuff way longer for me, and I really love doing that.
Mhm. I have lettuce that lasts weeks in the fridge
Yeah.
because I wash it, I chop it, like I dry it, and then I put it in a bowl with a piece of paper towel on the bottom and a piece of paper
Mm-hmm.
towel on the
And
top,
on
and
the
I
top.
seal it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks. Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
go through
No.
lettuce really fast, so I never really have it that
Mhm.
long. But I was noticing the one that I just used up yesterday. I just started getting a little. You just pick that brown piece out, but.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I tell you, like the freezer, I have a freezer downstairs because years ago I invested in a deep freezer, and it's come
Mhm.
in handy. It has. Like I don't have the time to use it to the full extent right now, but I am little by little. Like our Thanksgiving turkey was really big, and so like I put a piece of that carcass in with the I made turkey soup the next
Mm,
day, but the rest of it, my husband helped me like cut down, and then we have it in freezer bags downstairs in the deep
nice.
freezer. So I've got
Yeah,
I've
that's
I've
great.
got I've got more future turkey stock and yeah, and things like that. But people don't think of it that much. I have
Yeah,
Jan, our friend Jan from New York City,
love
saves
Jan.
money. I know. So she's another frugal like oh I love her. Um, she does that with rotisserie chickens. I wouldn't have
Mhm.
thought to buy a rotisserie chicken, use it that night, and then I don't know why I
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought to do that with the
I've done
with the
that
carcass.
because before I had the bravery of touching the chicken, so like former vegetarian for that
Yeah.
long, I thought it was weird. I remember I did an Instagram not too long ago. I was like, how do you massage the chicken? Like with my
I
gloves on
saw
and
that.
everything.
I'm
I'm
one of
like,
the ones
how
that
do you do
commented.
it?
I commented on that. I thought it was so funny.
Well, I was literally like, oh my God, I was mortified. I'm better now. I've like gotten over
Okay.
it. Where was I going with this? Oh, I would buy the rotisserie chicken because I was so grossed out by it. I felt so weird to be touching this dead raw chicken. But then I would, yeah, you could take it and you could just boil it up and there you go. You've got a stock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's so great being able to repurpose leftovers to save money, like stop so much food waste and be
Yes.
able to like satisfy your picky eaters for the most part.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
hide
We
most of it, not
try.
all of
We
it, not all of
try.
it. And then and then if they got a problem with it, you just
You tell them, well,
I
then
made it,
you
you
cook
eat
it.
it.
Yeah. You don't like it, you can cook.
Oh my gosh. Angel, please talk about your podcast. Like let everyone
Oh,
know.
yes. Okay. So, the Mom Dish Podcast season 2 coming at you the beginning of January 2023. Feel like I keep saying December, but it's January because I'm all balled up. My brain's been like a fried egg. But yeah, season 2. And Miss Debbie is going to be our very first guest for
Oh,
season 1.
I
Or
loved it.
for episode 1. I'm so excited
Mhm.
because we are talking about how to set realistic money goals for the new year. And
Mhm.
we had a really great conversation about setting realistic goals. I've had a lot of problems with setting realistic goals in the past. So, it's really great. I was listening to it back actually the other day and I was like,
Oh, I'm
best
so
one yet.
glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I love, I love talking money. I could talk money all day long. And then with you, you were making such great points. Like, even though I'm a money coach, I was like,
Thank
yep,
you.
yep, yep. It was such a good interview. You are fantastic. You are gifted at
Thank
podcasting. I
you.
told you, I've
Thank
been on
you.
interviews before. Yours was excellent.
Thank you so much.
The way that you like were able to like come up with such a great topic, but then also like your points were excellent and the way that you just went about it. You're such a gifted podcaster. You really are.
Thank you.
Everyone needs to go. And are you on like I follow you on Spotify, but you're on Spotify?
Yes.
Are you and
So currently season 1 streaming on Spotify and
okay.
Anchor.
Anchor.
I'm
Okay.
working to get season 2. I know I've had a couple of my viewers asking if I can get it on Apple Podcasts. I'm working
Mm-hmm.
on it. I
Okay.
don't know that I will have like the first few episodes available until I like figure out how to get everything transferred over up onto that platform as well. But I'm trying to get
Mm-hmm.
it on as many platforms as possible. And it
Okay.
will be available on YouTube as well. So if you can
Yes.
actually head over to either my Instagram at My Real Life Budget, it's on my link tree, and also on my YouTube page, My Real Life Budget. It's usually in the description of every single one of my videos that you could just go ahead, click the link, and it'll take you there.
And as soon as it's on, whether it's on YouTube or on any broadcasting station, like I will put it on my community page as well. Everyone's
Oh,
got to go
thank
and follow you.
you.
Your first season was excellent. So when you asked
Thank
me to
you
be the
so
first
much.
guest of the second season, I was like, I'm honored. Like not only are we friends, but yeah.
And it was great. Like, I'm
It
not
was.
just saying that. Like, it was a great episode,
Yeah.
great information in there, and just
Mhm.
having, I feel like, my real life experience of actually like failing at it a lot. And then your expertise with just the whole area of like being a positive money coach in this space. It's mm,
Oh.
superb.
I'm so glad. Oh, thank you. And I'm going to have all your links down below as well. So
Thank
everybody can go
you.
check it out. And thank you so much for being here. You
Of
just,
course. Thank you for
I'm just
having
looking forward to
me.
this. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I
Thank
always
you.
get so excited when I know we're going to do a collab together. It like
Me
reinvigorates
too.
my fire.
I'm literally talking to one of my best friends. I'm like, I'm so
Yeah.
excited about this. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank
Oh
you
my
all for
gosh.
watching. I appreciate you
Yes.
all spending your time with us today.
Yes. And please go check her out on Instagram. Please go check out her YouTube channel. All the links will be down below. You will not be disappointed. Like Angel's content is fire, honestly. Even your Vlogmas, which you stopped like
Thank
in
you.
like the second week of December. And I was like, I
I
was loving it.
did.
I was
Oh, I
loving
know.
it.
So many people that like follow, they were like, "Why'd you stop? We love your Vlogmas." But I
Oh,
was like, "Oh, I'm burnt out.
I couldn't do
Need a
it.
break."
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Like my viewers sometimes are like, "How come you missed a week?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. Like I'm trying because
Yeah,
we love YouTube." But
what
yeah.
people don't get when YouTube is not your full-time job and you're doing your regular 40 hours, you're doing your
Mhm.
regular life and YouTube, boy, oh boy, it is a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah, 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 and a family and my business. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, no,
Yes.
it's definitely a lot, but we love it, and that's why we're here.
Yeah,
So,
that's why we do it.
yeah, so if you guys like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and click the like button, and please follow Angel. Like, you will not be disappointed. She's amazing. Just
Thank
if
you.
you think she's amazing here, you have to watch her content. She's on fire. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys next week.